All right, well, welcome to another episode of Steelers Today. We're on the south side, outside of Steelers, out of the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex. I'm your host, Eddie Provident. With me is Dale Lolley. This is DK Pittsburgh Sports. Dale, obviously, can't report on anything on a closed practice, but I kind of wanted to talk to you today a little bit about your 53-man roster and some of the cuts. The two in particular that I want to talk about, because I really thought that Benny Snell was Tomlin's guy. Benny Snell not on the roster, and Josh Dobbs not on the roster, which is kind of, I think we all knew that was going to happen. So my two questions to you is, what happens with Benny Snell, and then what's the game plan with Josh Dobbs moving forward?
Benny Snell gets released. I mean, he's not been available.
Yeah.
And you can't make the club in the tub, as they like to say.
Right.
And again, the best ability is availability, and he hasn't been that. Now, he's now back at practice. I can say that. He was back last week when they returned, but he didn't play in the game on Saturday night against the Lions. I just don't. Kalen Ballage's better. I'm not saying Benny Snell isn't an NFL running back. He is. I don't know that he's a real good fit, however, for Matt Canada's offense and what they want to do. This is more predicated. It's no coincidence that Anthony McFarland's a speed back, Kalen Ballage is a speed back. We don't know how fast Najee Harris is because he didn't run at the scouting combine. Or they didn't have a scouting combine, but he didn't run at his pro day. But he's certainly faster than Benny Snell. I think if you're looking for a guy who is, going to be that 15 carry a game banger for you, Benny Snell can be that. But I think you're doing the defense a favor when Benny Snell is on the field because he just doesn't have that speed, that breakaway speed.
Right.
And if you're going to run a lot of misdirection and things of that nature, sometimes when you run misdirection, the running back's got to make somebody miss and win in space.
That's not
his
Snell's game. No, not at all. And the thing with Kalen Ballage, and I think you said this a few weeks ago on one of the shows, he's almost like not light in weight, but like a light version of Najee Harris. He does a lot of the same things. He's very similar in his style. He's a thicker body. So
you see it in the games. Like he falls forward consistently.
Right.
And you just didn't see that. I think he's an NFL running back. I'm not so sure. I know Jalen Samuels is not. Wasn't even a consideration. To me, it's Benny Snell or Ballage, and I'm taking Ballage.
Yeah. So Josh Dobbs, do you think we're going to see a trade part two? Do you think they're going to just throw him on a practice squad? Are there any teams interested? Because he does have NFL experience, and quarterbacks with NFL experience are always needed and wanted in the NFL.
I just don't see a team trading for him at this point. I think they look. Other teams are going to look at the situation and say, "Hey, we can get this guy in a week for nothing. We can just sign him because when they traded him the last time." It was a situation where you had Rudolph, you could make the trade. They had Duck Hodges as well, who they kind of liked. He was Dobbs was 3, but then Hodges was pushing him. Well, he's just not pushing right now at all for the 3 spot, and so I just don't know that you're going to get anything for him.
Yeah, and before we go to a break, I gotta call something out because I haven't been on this side of the camera in a while. Everybody in the comments section thinks you're a Dwayne Haskins hater, but coming into camp, none of us expected Dwayne Haskins to do anything. If you remember, two months ago, Dwayne Haskins was a headache. He was a character problem. There were all these that nobody wanted him on the team.
I was the guy defending him at that point.
I remember being on my podcast with Chad and talking about I was excited about the idea of Dwayne Haskins coming in and getting a second chance and getting chewed up for that. So you're the first person I heard defend him. And just because Mason Rudolph is already established as the number 2 doesn't make Dale here a Dwayne Haskins hater. So everyone in the comment section got to cool it a little bit on my man Dale because it's not that serious. It's the number 2 quarterback position. If we've said this 1,000 times, if we're at that point in the season, we're in trouble already.
Again, I'm a reporter. I report what I know, what I see, and that's what I know and what I see.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Again, Haskins was not guaranteed a roster spot when this camp started.
And he won one.
He won a roster spot. Good for him.
Yeah.
He probably won himself an opportunity to be in the mix next year. Good for him. That's what you wanted out of that situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was found money with Dwayne Haskins. But he was never a situation where he was going to beat out Mason Rudolph in this camp. It just wasn't going to happen.
So we're going to take a break real quick now that we've covered all of that. When we come back, we're going to do a little flyover of the offense. I just want to talk to Dale and get his ideas on some Matt Canada stuff. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Steelers Today on DK Pittsburgh Sports. Dale, I wanted to just real quick get your thoughts on what we saw the other night at Heinz Field in the offense. We got to see Ben for the first time, definitely the only time in the preseason. We got to see him with Najee. We got to see him with a put-together offensive line. The only starter that wasn't out there was Chase Claypool. Did we see anything that we can really look into for the regular season as far as what Matt Canada's offense is going to look like, any schemes? Or was that just a pretty vanilla, let's just throw something out there and see how they work together?
It was pretty vanilla other than some pre-snap movement. You did see a little bit of play action as well.
Yeah, that was exciting.
Those are going to be staples of the Canada offense. But there's a lot that we've seen on the practice field that they haven't unleashed yet in terms of just rollouts and the use of the fullback and things of that nature. As we referenced in the first segment, I did my 53-man roster cut after that second week of the preseason. Mm-hmm. And I had Derek Watt in there, obviously.
Right.
And some people said, well, they need to cut him. He's making all this money and he's not worth it. They're going to use the fullback this year.
They're going to use a fullback, and we've even seen them use him on those wheel routes and all these different out routes for the fullback.
An extra blocker on the wing, things of that nature.
Yeah, Derek Watt is definitely going to get used this year, more than just the special teams guy. So seeing Ben Roethlisberger for the first time with some of these rookies, I mean, obviously 2 touchdowns to Pat Freiermuth. It doesn't get much better than that. He had a perfect passer rating. One of the things that he said in his post-game press conference, and we'll play this real quick.
We worked that a lot. If you watch practice, I try not to throw good balls all the time. I know it sounds crazy, but I want to see what they're capable of doing. And he's one. I'm sure when rookies or guys come in here, they're like, "Man, Ben is not very accurate," and it's intentional. And so I've thrown that ball to him dozens of times in practice. So he was ready for it, and he made the rest happen.
So we saw those 2 catches from Freiermuth in the back of the end zone and how, Freiermuth had to kind of change his body position and fight for the football. Ben said that he throws those passes bad on purpose in practice. This isn't really like a coach him up moment. This is just, how different are these guys thinking the game of football, even on the practice field, compared to everybody else?
Yeah, I mean, you see a lot of times, especially for younger quarterbacks, they want to throw everything perfect. Roethlisberger's established.
Yeah,
he's the number one. He wants to find out, as he said, how far can he stretch the things with these guys? Where can he throw the football? The 2 touchdown passes to Freiermuth in the game the other day were thrown where they had to be thrown, based on where the defensive player was at, and he threw them knowing that Freiermuth could go get them because he had practiced those throws with Freiermuth. Yep. So that all goes into it. It's all part of the equation.
Yep. Well, that's pretty much all we have today. We'll be back next time with more Steelers Today. Thanks for tuning in. This has been DK Pittsburgh Sports. I'm Eddie Provident. For Dale Lolley, we'll see you next time.